time for us to get started on lesson 7, working with word problems and a little bit of fractional review in equations. As Rocky Balboa once said to Ivan Drago, ain't so bad. Remember when I don't know, maybe it was Rocky 97 or Rocky 101 or whichever Rocky movie it was where he went over to Russia and fought Drago. Drago had killed Apollo Creed, and Rocky went over there to fight him, and Drago was punching Rocky around the ring, and Rocky just kept saying, it ain't so bad, it ain't so bad. And you know, people looked in that movie, Rocky and Apollo Creed looked at the size of Drago, and he thought, oh my God, this guy's going to kill me because he's so big and so strong. He pumped up with steroids and everything. And Rocky, the first time, I believe, it's been a long time since I watched the movie, I think the first time he lost to him, then he had a rematch, and he beat him the second time. And he kept saying it ain't that bad, or they only fought once and Rocky beat him. But in the beginning, he was kind of psyched out. He felt that he couldn't beat Drago. And then he realized that a lot of what he feared wasn't real. And I'm not saying word problems aren't real and fractions can't be bothersome, but I am saying there are ways to deal with these things where we can deal with them more effectively. So that's what we really want to do. And that's what lesson 7 is all about, getting comfortable with them and not letting them intimidate us. Like Rocky wouldn't let Ivan Drago intimidate him. All right, so where do we begin to tell the story of the greatest math there's been? All right, let's just begin. I always like to begin by reviewing a little of what we did the previous days or in the previous work necessary for some kind of an assessment, be it a quiz or a test. So here is a percent problem. I'm not going to read it to you. You can read it yourself and get started, do some stop-start, and I'll go over the correct answers. Okay, so Mark's buying a used fly rod, and he sees the original price was $775. Yeah, fly rods can be that expensive. He can now choose the buy it now option and buy the fly rod for $450. But Mark, he's a intelligent shopper, and he wants to save at least 30% if he's going to buy it, from eBay. So what percent does he save, and then should he buy the fly rod? So whenever we're doing a percent word problem, we like to do percent over 100 equals part over whole, remembering that the word part is indicated by is and of by whole. Not always, but if we see those words, there's a good chance that's where they go together. And remember, we also kind of pair things off. So you can tell here that the percent is 30. You can tell that the original price was $775. That was the whole cost of the fly rod. And it says there of the rod, and you know that's the whole cost. And then the new price, the reduced price, the part of the whole price is $450. So I set up the proportion there. Now I cross multiply. 775n equals 45 followed by 3 zeros, or 45,000. Dividing by 775, flash, bells ring, and that tells me that n equals 58 point blah, blah, blah. On a test, I would tell you what to round off to. The big thing is, this is the step that you have to understand, okay? If this represents 58% of the original price, then there's the 58% of the original price. Then he saves 42%. That ampersand symbol should be a percent. He saves 42%. The 100% total minus the 58% that he pays for the rod. Okay. Now, next up, a same side or opposite side or both situation. Go ahead, do a little stop and start. Okay, so whenever I see a number outside parentheses, I want to distribute right away. Then I ask, is there anything that could be combined where you can group like terms together? And we call that same side, same operation. And we can. The 10 ends and the 4 ends over here make 14 ends. And on the other side, 50 and negative 5, or 50 minus 5 is 45. Okay, next up. I usually start with the 6 ends, but for some reason this time I started with the number. I guess I can just show you. It still works the same if you start with the numbers. I do prefer the letters though. So adding 35 to both sides, I get 14n equals 6n plus 80. Then I subtract 6n from both sides. And that leaves me with 8n is equal to 80. And I divide by 8. And ding, 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 ding. The lights flash, bells ring. N is equal to 10. Okay, another word problem that we've got going on here. Our last review word problem for the day. Go ahead, do a little stop and start. Okay, so Todd loves playing baseball. He gets 8 hits and 32 at-bats. Express the part of the time he gets hits as a fraction. Well, the part of the time he gets hit 8 times out of 32 at-bats. So 8/32, you could reduce that to 1/4, okay? But you would get credit for either, unless it's said as a fraction in simplest form. Then it would have to be 1/4. Express this as a decimal. You know, just take your calculator, do 8 divided by 32. Tells you 0.25, and then express the decimal as a percent. Then I'm going to move 2 places to the right. Remember, percent has an R in it, so we go to the right. Decimal has an L in it, so we go to the left. So that's 25%. So those are some word problem reviews, and that will constitute lesson number 7's first video.